The IC705 is a recent small radio intended for portable use. It's completely DSP and it goes all the way from 1.8 up to 440 megahertz. However, on the various forums, people have identified or commented some things are not available on it which would be useful. Specifically, they are some sort of antenna tuner. There is only one aerial input, which across the frequency range is a bit of a nuisance. It means you have to keep changing aerials. And there is no hardware computer interface, which would be used, for example, for automatic band switching on an amplifier. What I have done is designed and built a unit to provide those facilities. It has an ATU, which you can initiate there. It can switch in up to 4 aerials. And on the back panel it has a CI5 output, a computer interface. All communications between the ATU box and the radio are done with Bluetooth. There is no hardware connection at all. This makes it relatively easy to set up and avoids having too many trailing cables. What I'm going to do is describe to you how this is built, how this is used, and just show you how well it works. Okay, so let's have a look at the unit in action. Here it is in its usual position, so let's turn it on. Bluetooth pairing. Okay, it's now waiting for the 705 to talk to it, so we'll put the 705 on and it'll be fairly clear when it's connected. Okay, ANT switch connected. ANT switch is the name of the Bluetooth interface on the ATU. So at this point we can start to do things. So we can jump through the aerials. At the moment only aerial 1 is connected, so as you would expect. As you press this momentarily, it will jump through the 4 aerials. If you press and hold, then it allocates the aerial to the particular band. Fairly easy to use, works effectively. Once you've selected an aerial, as you change bands, it will automatically track that and give you the correct aerial. For example, it'll switch in a 50 meg aerial rather than an HF one. Let's have a look at the ATU working. Currently, we're on 3.7 megs. This is a dipole resonant at about 3.65. So let's have a go at tuning this, which is away from the resonance, so obviously is not going to be 50 ohms. So let's have a go and see what happens. And it's telling us 1 to 1, which is pretty good considering we're away from resonance. We can check that just by a quick whistle. Nothing coming back, so that's really good. If we go down the other end of the band, we can repeat the operation, and again it should match. It may not get right the way down to 1 to 1, but it should match fairly well. And again, all I need to do is press the ATU button for about half a second. 1 to 1 again, so okay, let's check that out. And that is remembered. So if we go now to 7 megs, the ATU knows it, but the ATU is shown as blank because it hasn't yet tuned, so we'll have a go at tuning that. This is also a dipole in parallel with the 3.5. That's saying 1.14 to 1, so not a perfect match, and we can confirm that, but it's reasonable. If I now go back to 3.5, except I got the wrong one. Let's try 3.5. That's better. It now shows MEM. It has remembered the previous setting, which should mean when I do this, it's remembered it. So that's the basic operation of it. Particularly useful if you have a dipole and you move off frequency and you want to still match the radio into it properly. Okay, let's have a look at the insides of the ATU. Oops, what we got? Well, we've got bank of relays, the inductors, another bank of relays. These are switching in the inductors and the capacitors. We've got the 4 aerials going out, and there's an input one on the top there. What you can't see is underneath the circuit board is an Arduino Mega 2560. That does all the work. The only other thing that's really important is this blue module, which is the Bluetooth one, which talks to the radio to be able to control it, get data off it, etc. Here's the PCB used in the unit. It's carrying all the components. They're surface mount using 1206 sizes. You can see, well, we've got all the relays and we've got the SMA sockets and so on. This is the bit that carries the Bluetooth module, and this area, well, that carries the main processor unit, which is a Mega 2560. That goes on the back of the board like that. It clips on. So we have pins through there that then plug in to that. So it's a sort of a motherboard daughter board arrangement. The PCB was made in China by a company called JLC PCB. It was amazing. Between uploading the files and paying and having the boards in my hand was 6 days. They weren't particularly expensive. You end up with 5 whether you want 5 or not. However, if you want to build something like this, I think a PCB and surface mount is the only way to go.